Buckle up because I'm about to get real bitter about my childhood. Sometimes I entertain myself by imagining my parents debating whether or not to have a baby together, back in the day. What might that conversation have looked like? More specifically, what would that conversation have looked like if the two of them had had a single shred of self-awareness between them?
So, honey, I've been thinking. You know how you've always been kind of a controlling asshole with me, and since we got married you started escalating that to a level that is definitely abusive.
Ha. Yeah, I said to myself, hey, she's emotionally invested now, so I can probably start screaming at her whenever I'm startled by a loud noise or something disrupts my routine. Ha.
Ha, exactly. Well, I was thinking, why not throw a baby into the mix? Does that sound like a good idea?
I don't see why not. Babies aren't known for being loud or disruptive. And although I think children are disgusting sticky little monsters, I assume I won't have to interact with ours much because you'll quit your job to stay home and raise it.
Of course. We're boomers and this is the 1970s, so you could easily support a family on your salary alone. Plus, I pretty definitely have a whole cluster of undiagnosed mental disorders, and this makes my part-time job really stressful for me. I can tell that my coworkers and customers think I'm weird, but I don't know what to do about it. It would be a relief to simply disappear into motherhood so I don't have to navigate and be judged by other adults anymore.
This actually dovetails really well with my end game of isolating you from the rest of the world so I can be an even more terrible person and you won't have the resources to leave me. Also, there would ultimately be a tiny person around who depends on me for survival, which means I can terrorize them with no repercussions.
It's true. I will stand by and do absolutely nothing.
Don't interrupt me.
Which will give me the sense of absolute power that I crave but am not currently getting from any other part of my life.
Great. I'll quit my job first thing tomorrow. But, wait.
What is it?
I'm autistic and OCD and depressed and anxious and God knows what else. You're a textbook example of autism yourself and might have ADHD, and all of our respective issues have a genetic component. So our hypothetical offspring would very likely end up being autistic and have other challenges as well. Are we sure we're up to the task of raising a child with an atypical brain?
Well, first off, I'm not sure why you're saying we. I thought I was clear that you would be the one raising this thing. And secondly, why would an atypical kid be harder to raise than a typical kid? All you have to do is refuse to acknowledge that its brain is wired differently or offer any support or guidance. Just tell the kid, everyone else can do X, Y, and Z with no issue, why can't you? You're not even trying. And let the kid work it out.
I never thought of it that way. Thanks.
No problem. That's what my parents did with me and I turned out fine.
So, this is it. We're gonna have a baby.
We're gonna have a baby.
A sweet little bundle of joy to hug
Work out our
and...
control issues on.
Sure.
Phew, it felt good to vent. Who else has parents who tried to cure their neurodivergence through nagging and yelling? Drop your stories in the comments and let's commiserate. Also, this is probably not the last time I'll touch on the experience of growing up with autism and ADHD, so if you're into that sort of content, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching.